for the House of Representatives for District 3.
Exactly.
Your 5 minutes begins.
I was waiting for a now. For a now. Hi, I'm Jeff Lawrence, and sorry I'm going to put my glasses on. I live in Troutdale. I've lived there for 19 years, have 5 kids. I went to the local public schools. This is my wife, Laura. She's also running for the city council up there. So you might want to poke her a little bit and ask a few questions. You know, last year was a landmark year for a lot of us as we assess the direction that the country is going. And there's been a lot of things that have gone on over the past, 8 years. There's been a lot of rhetoric out there, just vitriolic rhetoric we've seen, directed at the Bush administration and a number of things. But last year, as we watched the country just really head into a debt situation, just an out of control, I mean an out of control debt situation, not just a little bit of spending, but I mean bad, where it got, I have 5 kids, and what I saw every day when I got up is I saw them being sold into slavery, old-fashioned way, sold into slavery every single day, and I got to where I just couldn't take it anymore. Not only that, but watching my personal liberties just disappear right before my eyes because I saw complete and utter disregard for our personal liberties. And there were a number of groups and other people around this country who started calling for good men and women to stand up. And they said, we have to take accountability for ourselves. And interestingly, I was teaching this Sunday school class. I know that's really hard to believe. That's what the students in my Sunday school class, students, I use that term loosely, that's what they thought as well. But we were having a lesson about personal responsibility and about citizenship. And I got thinking about this really hard. We have a tendency to want to look to our children and look to the future. Oh, our children are going to take care of that problem. Oh, our children are the future. Oh, our children are going to be the ones that solve this great thing or that great thing. And I went home and I looked myself in the mirror. I looked myself in the mirror real hard and I realized, I am actually my mother's child. And she was looking to me to stand up and be the one to take personal responsibility. And I decided right there that, I've delegated a lot of these matters, these sacred responsibilities to people other than myself. I'm busy, I'm working, I have a career, I have a life, I have a lot to lose here because I'm at a point in my life and my career where if I were to win this, and when I win this will be a material sacrifice for me to make just in terms of my own personal life. But there's some things that are more important than all these things. And at some point in our lives, we have to stand up and we have to be accountable ourselves. And I said, I'm going to stand up now and be accountable. And I've spent most of the last, my voting career supporting more conservative candidates. That's who I typically tend to support. But I've always been a libertarian myself, never acted in the Libertarian Party, but I've always been a libertarian. It's because I've always believed in fiscal responsibility, and I've always believed in social tolerance as a matter of law, because we just can't be imposing our will on other people, even if we disagree with them. Because what always happens, and this is something that I learned from my ancestors who crossed the plains, they were hand-carved pioneers, they were thrown from their homes, and they were left to die out in the cold. And you know why? It's because there was no tolerance for them, there was no room for them. And I learned from them the importance of liberty and tolerance, and as a matter of law, if we're going to all live together in a country, we've got to quit this divisive groupism, we've got to focus on the individual again. So I had a lot of axes to grind, a few axes to grind with the Republicans, and I viewed them, just like the Democrats, as becoming part of one great big massive machine that's in Washington. And it churns people up, it churns good people up. It churns even good people up. And I made a determination that I was going to stand against that machine. And I was going to stand up for what I believed was right. And that's what I've done, and that's what I'm going to continue to do, because these are my liberties. I live here, I've lived here for a long time, I'm going to retire here. The things that happen impact me, they impact my children. And so there's a few things, what are your big agenda items, Jeff? There's a couple, and I'm just going to lay it out. A couple of things that I think are important. Number one, we have to restore respect for individual liberty in our country. This is so fundamental to us. This is just fundamental. And you'll hear a lot of folks speaking of the Constitution, which I grew up believing was an inspired document, and believe that to this very day because it's based on the protection of individual liberty. Number two is this fiscal insanity. It's just got to stop. But I'm going to be realistic with people and tell you, the big problems here. We like to talk about this pork barrel project or that one, but these are just drops in this great big bucket because of the entitlement system that we've developed and the social welfare state that we've created. We need to bring some real business-oriented talent and passion and leadership to fixing these real problems, or we just punt them. Just like the healthcare, you know, we had a lot of focus on healthcare last year, but we didn't solve any healthcare. There was no fundamental reform. There was nothing. And so this incredible looming debt from this social welfare system was just lingering over top of us, and it's just hanging there, waiting to crush us. Okay, that was how long? 30 seconds? 30 seconds. So fiscal responsibility number 3. There's a lot of things in my top 10 list that you can go to votejefflawrence.com or ask me about. But number 3 is in Oregon, where we live in District 3. People still care about health care. And this is the thing that's going to eat us alive over time. This is the thing. And so I'm supporting fundamental reform there through competition, which you can ask me about, we can talk about later. But my vision for this country, people, my vision for this is we need to make America the boldest enterprise zone on the face of the earth. I mean the boldest. We need to empower people. We need to drive innovation. We need to bring the most talented people here. Because this is our last shot at this. Either that or we're going to be a dead and dying social welfare state. Look to Europe. That's what Earl loves. That's what we're on the way to becoming. But not if I can help it. So ask me some good questions, all right, when we get around to it.